If the moon suddenly became a zombie and crashed into our planet, it would be so much more than a bit of bad luck. The consequences would be absolutely catastrophic. So what exactly would happen to our world if this were to occur? Let's take a look at some possible scenarios. To begin with, we should state that the moon won't actually crash into the Earth anytime soon. It's just not going to happen. According to scientists, even when the orbits of the moon and the Earth do slowly drift apart over billions of years, it will never get close enough for a collision to occur. However, we can still imagine the disaster that would befall us all if such an event did somehow happen. First of all, it would make sense to determine the mass of the moon. After all, its weight is going to have a massive impact on how the two objects interact when they meet. Currently, the moon weighs in at 7.34 to 10 raised to the power of 22 kilograms, which is approximately 1% of the Earth's mass. NASA believes that the average density of the moon is 3.34 grams per cubic centimeter, while the Earth has a density of 5.51 grams per cubic centimeter. This means that the moon is less dense than our planet by a wide margin. Because of its low density, the moon is mostly made up of rock and dust. If it were to slam into the Earth, it would cause an incredible amount of damage. The force of the impact would trigger seismic activity unlike anything we have ever experienced. In fact, the energy released by this collision would be equivalent to around 46 trillion tons of TNT. For reference, the largest nuclear weapon ever detonated, the Tsar Bomba, had a nuclear yield of around 27 megatons of TNT. The moon crashing into the Earth would cause serious devastation across our entire planet. But what about the two objects colliding and sticking together? What if the moon simply became a part of the Earth? Well, if the moon were to be incorporated into our planet, it would cause the Earth's radius to expand by around 18 meters. It would also cause Earth's mass to increase by 0.012. That doesn't sound like much, but such an increase in mass would actually cause our planet to speed up in orbit around the Sun by 10 meters per second. The moon crashing into the Earth would be an extremely rare occurrence. The chances of this happening are astronomically small. However, it is certainly a thought-provoking scenario to consider. And who knows? Perhaps there is some truth to the conspiracy theories that claim the moon isn't actually a natural satellite but something artificial that was placed in orbit thousands of years ago. If this were true, then the moon could potentially be moved or destroyed at will by some kind of advanced alien technology. However, there is no real evidence to support this idea. But what if the moon were to mysteriously vanish from orbit? How would this affect our planet? As we mentioned earlier, the moon does have a gravitational pull on the Earth. It's what causes our tides to ebb and flow on a regular basis. Without the moon's gravity, our planet's tilt axis would become altered. The Earth would now wobble more than it currently does, which would lead to extreme weather conditions and an increase in natural disasters. Another consequence of the moon suddenly disappearing would be a significant change in the lengths of our days. The moon's gravity slows down the Earth's rotation very slightly. If the moon vanished, our planet would spin faster, causing our days to become shorter by around 70 minutes. There would be other subtle changes to our planet as well. Without the gravitational pull of the moon, our magnetic field would be affected, and animals that use the moon's gravity for navigation, such as birds, would struggle to find their way. We've covered what would happen if the moon were to crash into the Earth and vanish from orbit. But what would happen if the two objects switched places? If the Earth were to be placed into lunar orbit and the moon were to take our planet E's place, it would be interesting to see what would happen next. The first thing that would stand out is that the Earth wouldn't be able to support human life. Because of the low gravity in lunar orbit, water would boil on our planet and our atmosphere would dissipate into space. To make matters worse, the Earth would come under frequent meteor showers. Without the moon's gravity to deflect them, asteroids would constantly be smashing into our planet. We would quickly go extinct, along with most other forms of life on the planet. If you're enjoying this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos about space. Now, let us say that somehow the Earth were able to support human life after being placed into lunar orbit. What would happen next? Our planet would gradually begin to drift further away from the sun. Because of the Earth's mass, this would cause the moon to start spinning in its orbit. At the same time, the Earth would start to cool down significantly because of the lack of sunlight. When the Earth was in its original orbit, the moon's gravity caused tides to occur on our planet. But now the Earth's gravity would cause tides on the moon. However, these tides wouldn't be made of water, but rather rock. Eventually, the Earth would drift so far away from the moon that it would no longer be bound by its gravitational pull, and it would continue to move further and further into deep space. A strange phenomenon would then take place. The Earth's rotation speed would gradually begin to increase as it moves away from the moon. This would mean that our planet would start to bulge at the equator. The Earth would start to resemble a flat disk more than a sphere. Over time, the Earth would become so thin that it would eventually break apart. It would shatter into multiple pieces, all of which would be flung into outer space. This may sound insane, but it's actually not too far off from what happened to our planet's original satellite. About 4.5 billion years ago, the Earth collided with a Mars-sized object. Some believe that this object was a planet that was destroyed by a rogue asteroid. Whatever happened, this impact gave rise to the moon that we know today. It's important to remember that all of these scenarios are hypothetical and based on current scientific understanding. With that said, the moon will likely play a big role in the future of the Earth. Many astronomers believe that another moon could be captured by our planet's gravity. This would have a similar effect to the one we already have, but the presence of two moons could lead to more extreme tides and other interesting phenomena. NASA is also considering a mission to the moon later this decade. The Artemis program aims to land humans on the lunar surface by 2025. The plan is to establish a permanent presence on the moon and carry out extensive research there. In the future, we may even attempt to terraform the moon, which would involve creating an atmosphere and making the surface suitable for human life. However, this is just science fiction for now. So rest assured, the moon is not going to crash into the Earth anytime soon. In fact, our planet's satellite will continue to orbit us for billions of years to come. What is certain is that the moon has a profound effect on our planet and its influence will only grow in the future. One thing's for sure, we owe a lot to the moon. Not only does it provide us with breathtaking views and a source of mystery, but it also plays a vital role in stabilizing our climate and protecting us from dangerous asteroids. Without the moon, life on Earth would be very different. Now it's time to make your voice heard. Leave a comment below and tell us what you think would be the worst part of the moon crashing into the Earth. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos about space. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.